Hey y'all, so I came across some videos on TikTok that honestly shook me. Apparently, the Supreme Court has now given ICE the green light to deport immigrants not just to their home country but to any third world country that they choose. Like it doesn't have to be where the person is from, and I just think that that is insane. Right? Anyways, let's keep watching the videos and we'll come back again and talk some more about it.
I want you to hear what I'm saying. This is not fear mongering, it is to increase awareness. I'm going to talk about three things really quickly. One, the Supreme Court just ruled that the president can have ICE agents deport individuals to countries that are not their homeland. Understand what that means. To deport someone to a country that is not their homeland. Do you understand how, one, inhumane that is, but two, how dangerously irresponsible that is? That's number one. Number two, a lot of y'all keep asking, how is it that he's able to get away with a lot of this stuff? That the president and this administration is able to continue doing these things that seem to be illegal and getting away with it. Understand that the Supreme Court ruled in the case of immunity that the president has immunity from any actions taken while in office as long as they're deemed under the presidential capacity. So every time we got on here was saying how important the Supreme Court was, how powerful the Supreme Court is, and how they can augment the power of the president. This is what we're referring to, because now, which brings me to number three, there are only certain avenues that can be taken to limit the president's power, and we look to Congress for that. In Congress, we just had a vote where 128 Democrats voted against impeachment, many of whom were very public and vocal and loud about their disdain towards this administration, many of whom have used their platforms to discuss how they do not agree with this administration, but for some reason, 128 Democrats voted not to impeach, which calls into question yet again, are our politicians serving us? Are our politicians helping us? Are they listening to us? Or is it simply yet another talking point, another mouthpiece used to spew things during the campaign or even while they're in office to kind of rally up their constituents but do things against what their constituents are asking of them? We have to ask ourselves the real questions now.
You need to go with me. You need to go with me. Come on, let's go. Imagine someone walking up to you like this with a mask on. You don't know who they are. They don't identify themselves. And then all of a sudden you end up in the back of a car handcuffed. What is going on in America? That is not what we do here. We don't sit outside of courtrooms and wait for people like vultures so that we can arrest them and throw them in jail. We believe in due process. So stand up, everyone, and stop this bullshit.
All right, MAGA, get out there. Where are you at? You got your jobs back. You got your jobs that were taken from you. Get out there. Get out there and start working. Get to work. America first. Get out there. 100% haven't shown up to work due to immigration raids, Texas farmer says. America's migrant workers are terrified to work, but unable to stay home. So get out there, MAGA. You got these jobs back. You took them back. You voted. You got your guy in there to get rid of all of those migrant workers. So get out there. Get out there and start working. But for real, I want to shout out to the undocumented migrant workers as they were deemed essential in 2020. They stepped up when this nation needed them most. They have my utmost respect. They should see a pathway to citizenship. Period. Period. They were deemed essential workers, risking their lives in one of the most hazardous jobs in the entire U.S. labor market. They have my full respect. Thank you for your service and your contribution to this country.
So these are real people with real families and real lives, and now they can just be picked up and dropped off in some random country that they've never even stepped foot in before. That's cruel. It's inhumane if you ask me. And it honestly feels like they're not even treating people like they're actual human beings anymore. So there's this video, I don't know if you've watched it yet. If you haven't, then you're about to. But there was a woman who was taken into ICE custody, and she started having excruciating stomach pain, right? And no one helped her. No medical attention, no privacy, nothing. And then days later, she gave birth right there in front of everyone, and the baby was already dead. Right? She had been carrying her stillborn baby in her stomach for days without anyone helping her. And then, they told her family that they had to pay to have the baby's body sent back to her home country for the burial. Like, what kind of system does this to people? This new ruling isn't just a law, it's a message. And the message is, if we don't want you here, we'll throw you anywhere. No concern for where you came from, no concern for where your family is, no concern for your safety, nothing. Just go, just be gone, right? And it's honestly disgusting how this government, under people like Trump, sees immigrants, right? Like, they don't see them as people, they don't see them as humans, but as a problem that they need to remove. And now, apparently, they need to relocate them to random third world countries like it's some kind of dumping ground. I mean, where does that idea even come from? Like, seriously, who sits down and thinks, let's deport people to places they have never been before and let someone else deal with them? Who comes up with ideas like that? It's heartbreaking. Anyways, let's keep watching, guys.
Friends, we are just now finding out what happened to a pregnant woman while in ICE custody. Friends, it is absolutely heartbreaking. Her name was Iris Diana Monterroso Limas, and please forgive me if I pronounce that wrong. She was arrested in Tennessee and was transferred to a private ICE detention center in Louisiana in early April. She was 4 to 5 months pregnant then, and for 3 whole days, she was in excruciating pain, screaming for help, begging for help. But ICE staff, what the fuck did they do? Nothing. Days later, on April 29th, 2025, Iris gave birth to a stillborn baby. She said the baby had been dead inside of her for days. And while she gave birth, she was fucking shackled. She was watched, no privacy, no dignity. Then ICE told her family that they had to pay to ship her baby's body back to Honduras. Just days later, they deported her. And here's the worst part. We are just now finding about this now, today, June 24th, 2025. 2 months later, the Nashville Banner was the only report that came out on May 27th. And today, we are just now getting the attention for it. You have to ask yourself, why wasn't this front page news? Why a pregnant woman even being held in detention in the first place? IDs deserve better. We demand answers, and we need to talk about this now.
So the Supreme Court just said that it's okay to deport immigrants to countries that are not their own. Basically meaning that the Supreme Court just legalized human trafficking. Is anyone going to do anything about this?
Should we dress up as ICE agents and help escort people, immigrants that are at their court hearings or court proceedings, and escort them home? I mean, it's easy to do. Who even knows if any of these ICE agents are even real ICE agents? We don't know. They don't show you their face. They don't show you anything. They don't show you any badge. They don't show you any ID. They don't have warrants from a judge. I mean, how hard would it be to impersonate an ICE agent? And who knows if these people that are snatching up people that are undocumented or even citizens, whether they're even truly ICE. You do not know that. But we could go and order the same clothes, order the same things, which maybe that's all what they've done. They're in unmarked cars. You don't even know they're an official car. You don't know any of these people are even legitimate. They may just be Proud Boys. They may just be a vigilante group. You don't know. But guess what? we could do the same thing, and you could escort people, give them a ride home, take them home, get them home safely, and you can make sure this is something that we could do to help people so that they are able to follow the law under the Constitution as they're doing, and Donald Trump and his team clearly are not. What do you think? Love to hear from my Democrats, my MAGAs, my crazies, my cuckoos, and my burned LA bulbs. Am I cray-cray, or what do you think? I don't know. I've seen this idea batted around, and I think it's something we could think about.
You guys saw the video about the guy who said Americans should start dressing up as ICE agents to help the immigrants. I want to ask you a question. Do you think that's a smart idea, or you think that's just asking for more trouble? And on the flip side, do you think that undocumented immigrants really should be sent home? You know, I want to know what your thoughts are. Right, so let me know what you think. Please keep your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear from everyone. And a shout out to all the original creators of the videos I've just featured here. Credit to you guys for speaking your mind and sharing these stories. Yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on my next video.
Shit's getting weird. Part infinity. I was almost deported twice. It's true. Okay. But we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the Supreme Court decision. Not even a decision, or their decision, basically. And it's not like a decision on the merits of the case. It's basically saying we're going to let the process play out, let the appellate court kind of do its thing. But until then, we're going to let Trump continue to deport immigrants to third countries, which is crazy, by the way. If you ask me, I think that's absolutely crazy. Because I'm thinking to myself, like, yo, the time that I was deported, like, for example, I was living in another country for a while, and they wanted to deport me out of the country because my visa had expired. So I was in the country for like a cool minute without proper paperwork. So they were going to deport me. Imagine that country was like, we're going to send you to Czechoslovakia instead of the U.S. Wouldn't that be crazy? Wouldn't that be crazy? So what makes this any different? Isn't this is nuts if you ask me. And if you agree with this, you gotta have booty hole crumbles, because your decision making is questionable. Your booty hole crumbles are messing with your mind. Go wipe your ass. Comment in the comment section what you think about this. I think it's crazy, but I feel confident that the appellate court is going to be like, the fuck? I feel, but.
Now imagine being born here, a U.S. citizen, and one day you get pulled over and the officer tells you there's no record of you existing. That's exactly what happened to a man named Jacob on TikTok. He's third-generation American with Spanish ancestry, hence a Hispanic surname, and when police ran his ID, nothing came up. They thought it was fake, but the sergeant told him, and this is a quote, "You can thank ICE for that." Turns out ICE had deleted his records, and this isn't some isolated glitch. It fits a disturbing pattern. Back in April, ICE admitted to deleting the records of hundreds of international students from their federal database SEVIS. These students were suddenly considered out of status, risking arrest, deportation, and losing everything, even though they followed the rules. A federal judge had to step in and block ICE from enforcing those terminations. Even then, the agency refused to give a straight answer on whether the students were legally in the country. Despite having no evidence, they were removable. I'll drop Jacob's video in the comments, but this top comment says it best. She says, "Now imagine you're a brown person who is a citizen, who has had their info deleted, and you're detained by ICE, and now there's no way for you to prove to them before they deport you that you're a citizen. They're literally trying to erase brown people. This is bigger than a glitch. It's a warning. ICE is erasing digital records and creating a system where even citizens can be disappeared. We need to talk about this. Share Jacob's story. People need to know." The Supreme Court just gave Trump the green light to deport migrants to dangerous third countries, even if it puts them at risk of torture or death. In a 6-3 decision, the Republican-stacked Supreme Court ruled that the Trump administration can restart swift deportations to countries that aren't even the migrants' homeland. That means someone from Cuba, Myanmar, or Vietnam can now be sent to places like South Sudan, where they face civil war, torture, and death. This decision overturns a lower court order that had required migrants be given a chance to argue they'd be in danger. The court didn't explain its reasoning, but all three liberal justices dissented, and Justice Sotomayor warned this ruling, quote, exposes thousands to the risk of torture or death. She went on to say this government feels unconstrained by law, free to deport anyone, anywhere, without notice or a chance to be heard. This isn't just about immigration, it's about human rights and judicial accountability. When Trump's own appointees, backed by other GOP judges, greenlight this deportation agenda, the conflict of interest is the point. Share this, speak up, this is what authoritarianism looks like. And don't forget to follow for all the news you need to hear.